So I'm feeling very much like the Presbyterian pastor I am, because I'm standing here in front of you with a cup of coffee about that. That's very Presbyterian. But let us begin with prayer. Good and gracious God, my Lord, what a morning. We come gathered together to talk about something that doesn't happen very often, and it's hard because this building has been so good to us, and we have been able, because of it, to use such ministry for you. So help us to talk and to listen to each other today, and let us try to hear your Spirit as well. Amen.
Amen.
I'm going to send the microphone to Steve, who I think is going to do a summary of the business we'll be conducting now.
I'm going to try to use this and not trip or pull it out of the floor. So I believe Pastor has the call to order. Kathy's here taking minutes. Brian is busy getting signatures. So Brian, when you have the signatures in a quorum, would you wave at me then? He's focused. So everybody should, when they sign in, get several pieces of paper. We have a purple sheet that's a summary of the sales agreement. We didn't want to print, 20 pages of fine print and legalese. We wanted a summary. We have announced if you're interested in the actual legalese, you were welcome to come get a copy at the church office and read it. I think several people have done that. We also have a blue ballot, and those were handed out when you signed in. And we have a green sheet that we'll talk about later. We're just trying to get organized now. So while Brian is doing that, I kind of want to go through a little bit, like 2 sentences of how we got here. As you know, we've been on 2 tracks, the closure of the congregation and the sale of the building. They're parallel tracks, but they're not actually the same thing. This meeting is just about the sale of the building. We have a lot of other discussions to go about the congregation and the future of the congregation. You're lost, Brian.
I'm going to try and put some order to this. Please sit down. The sign-in sheet will come to you with the paperwork. You are delaying the meeting by moving and trying to find the sign-in sheet. Thank you.
Actually, I'm just jumping around in the meeting.
Did all 4 of you sign? Did all 4 of you sign?
So one of the issues with the building sale, like I said, this one is about the sale of the building. Last few months, we have had a lot of conversations. It's come to heart that we have so few people to maintain a building this size. It's a lot of work.
Lorraine, can we
Yes.
just pause for a minute? I just feel like there's a lot of distraction and people
Okay.
are not hearing you, so can we just wait?
Yep, and I'll start over.
Okay, thank you.
Without the potluck, I guess there's not such the rush to go get food, is there?
Which is why we should do it.
I'm not going to sing, I promise.
Oh, come on.
That would scare everybody away. I think we got there.
No, it's the sign. No, because one ballot goes to an official voting member, not anyone who...
Well, I'm glad it's not 100 degrees today. My plants are very happy. they actually perked up with that rain. It's like they loved it. And I had bark dust blown in a few weeks ago, and that dust gets on everything, and it hasn't been washed off. The rain finally washed off some of the leaves of my plants. This is my version of tap dancing, guys. So, it's how Americans don't tend to like silence. We tend to fill it, which I think is why we often service and other times have a moment of silence to just listen and feel God. And one of the reasons is we're taking the time to do this. It's a very important decision. And so as each member signs in, they are getting not just the information, but the actual ballot. And that way we know that it's the members who are receiving the ballot. We don't like the idea of vote often. So you get one vote. I get nervous up here. I forgot what that phrase is. Vote early, vote often. Is that what it is? We're not doing that. We're just doing one vote per person. And we want to make sure everybody has all the information and every sheet.
I assume this should not have to be turned in today.
Correct. I'll be talking about the green sheet at the end of this.
Has anybody not signed that is a member? Okay.
We have the signatures, we still have to count.
We have 34 voting members present, which constitutes a quorum.
And if you didn't hear that, we do have 34 voting members present, and that does constitute a quorum. So now I'm back at the top of my agenda, and I'll start going in order instead of jumping around. I did mention over the last few months, we've had 2 tracks, that about Holy Cross, the congregation, and our future, but also about the building, which they're parallel, they're intersecting. If you can have an intersecting parallel, sorry, I forgot my math there.
It's been according to the Justice, not according to the
He used names I don't know on who could, I heard Euclid, I got that one, I didn't get the other one. But at any rate, with the building, this meeting is only about the building, and we've had amongst, actually kind of a few years of discussion, and we realized we have fewer people to maintain this building, and there's actually more use of the building by the community than there is by the congregation. And so on December 15th, the congregation sadly agreed that we really need to sell the building. We've loved it, it's housed us, but it's become too much for us. And so the council brought several options to the congregation, and they really chose, yes, we'd like the building to be used by another church. That was our first option. Unfortunately, a lot of churches are closing, and we didn't have one suitable for here that we knew about right away. But we did have ties to the community, and we had 2 organizations that were interested in using the building as a community center. And that's how we felt about the building. It serves the community. We wanted to stay a hub for the community. And so we met with both Mono Mono and Family Promise, and we met in February. And both were interested, but Family Promise was not able to do anything with the building at this time. And Mono Mono was interested. So we received a formal inquiry of interest in April, and we came to a draft agreement at the end of June. And now we do have a revised purchase and sale agreement. In order for the congregation to sell the building, we have to have a vote by the congregation to do so. And that is why we're here today. So the purple that has the summary of the sale agreement? And I'm going to have Steve, our resident lawyer and wonderful friend, he will go through the points and answer any questions about the terms.
Okay, we hired a lawyer, Matt Sturgeon, who is, am I coming through here? Eat the mic, all right. Who's a lawyer with the firm of Johnny and White, Sherman, Johnny and White, and did a great job for us. And I think maybe the best way to do this is to take the purple sheet. The resolution is on the front side and back side are terms of the agreement. So let's go through those one by one, so we don't skim over it. The purchase price that's been negotiated was $1,179,500. We started out with an agreement for us to sell for a net amount of $1,150,000. Mono contracted with a broker named Javier in Portland, and his fee is 2.5%. So that's why the price is up to $1,179,500. He gets 2.5%, $29,487.50. So we actually get, I think, $1,150,000 $1,150,012. So get buy a cup of coffee or 2. Assuming this agreement is approved by a 2/3 majority of our congregation today, we will be signing the agreement early next week, probably about August 20th. Mono will then deposit $10,000 as earnest money, with Core title. They will have, their bank in particular, will have 90 days to do a due diligence review of our church. As part of that due diligence, they're going to have to determine that the purchase price is at least equal to or exceeds the appraised value. So there will be an appraisal on the property. The property is being sold as is. We're making no warranties as to the condition of the property. So they get what they see is what they get. But the bank will have 90 days to review it and approve it and approve a loan. The loan will be for $884,625. $284,875 will be deposited as money raised by Mono on or before the closing date, and those two sums, the amount they're borrowing and the amount that they're coming up as additional earnest money, will be the purchase price. And that amount is supposed to be deposited on or before December 15th of 2025. So those are the basic terms. There's also an agreement that we have to be able to continue to use the church for worship. We were going back and forth about how long that additional use should be. Mono agreed that we could have up to 2 years to use the sanctuary and office space, and then negotiate with us for use of additional space if needed. So we have up to 2 years. The 2 years is divided into 6-month increments. So we have 6 months initially, after December 15th, to use the congregation as a sanctuary, use the sanctuary of the built facility. And then we have the option to extend that 6 months for 3 additional 6-month periods, depending upon how long we hope to be here. So that is so we have the ability to continue to use the sanctuary and an office. Mono will take care of, when they purchase the property, they'll take care of all of the utilities. They receive, as part of the sale, of course, all of the fixtures of the property, and continue. There is a list on one of these pages, on the green page, of the property that they are buying that's included in the sale. And so you can look at that, which largely consists of tables and chairs and some furnishings of the church. Everything else remains the property of Holy Cross. And we, not today, but we will at some point have to figure out how we dispose of those additional items. Some of them are personal to parishioners, and they will want to take them themselves or contribute them elsewhere. And a lot of it is just, there's paper and there's books and there's so many things, there's wall hangings that we'll just have to try to decide how to dispose of. And that's going to be reviewed again here by Lorraine. So that is the nature of the transaction. We have to pay for title insurance, which is title insurance and escrow fees will be the only major additional expenditures that we'll have for at closing. But again, this is happening. To reiterate, this is not happening immediately in terms of the actual closing. The closing will occur on December 15th. We hope, if everything goes the way we think it's going to go, and we're very pleased to welcome Mono here.
I've got a house wine process expert Should I read the resolution first, or should we have questions first, Brian?
You always put a motion or resolution on the floor before the debate.
Okay. So I wasn't sure a resolution was the same as a motion. So, for order, I will read the resolution. It is on the back page of your purple one, so if you want to follow along, in case I missed a word or you can't understand it, we want to make sure it's clear, and then we can take questions. So the resolution of Holy Cross Lutheran Church of Salem, Oregon, authorizing the sale of real property. Whereas Holy Cross Lutheran Church of Salem, Oregon, the church, is the owner of certain real property, building and land, located at 1998 Lansing Avenue Northeast, Salem, Oregon, 97301. Whereas the church council, following the guidance of the church congregation, has determined it is in the best interest of the church to sell the property. Whereas the church has received a bona fide offer to purchase the property from Mano a Mano Family Center for the sum of $1,179,500. Now therefore be it resolved that the church congregation hereby approves the sale of the property to Mano a Mano Family Center for the, let's repeat, okay, for the purchase price of $1,179,500, subject to the terms and conditions of the purchase and sale agreement to be negotiated and executed by the authorized representatives of the church. And be it further resolved that specific individuals, Lorraine Odell, myself, President, and Kathy Mears, Secretary, are authorized to execute all necessary documents and actions to complete the sale, such as the purchase and sale agreement and the deed. Be it further resolved that is the intent of the sale proceeds will be used for specific purposes, such as funding the continued community service work of other not-for-profits or supporting missions similar to those that the church has undertaken in the past and not for regular operating expenses. All proceeds will be distributed as approved by the Oregon Department of Justice as required by Oregon law. The resolution becomes effective upon adoption and remains so until the sale is finalized. And if it happens, the resolution would be moved, second, and adopted. Do I need to read that part, Brian? Okay. So that is the motion on the floor, and that is the resolution referred to at the ballot. Do we have questions or discussion? Okay. Steve, are you running around with the mic? Karen has a comment.
I move we adopt this resolution as presented.
Brian moved the adoption and Doug Odell seconded. Thank you, Brian. Now we can talk, right? I think Karen had her hand up. Steve has the mic.
I can yell it. We are actually two separate pieces of property. Do we need to list both addresses?
The title company is going to provide, a legal description of all of the properties that we have. Is it signed? Okay. Because that question did come up, and we want to make sure that we have both addresses. So if we could, I suppose, amend the motion to say all property of Holy Cross Lutheran Church.
Or just list some of the
Or just as yeah. In any event, the agreement does provide that all of the property will be included in it, whatever address is needed. Yes.
Just for clarification, the Mano is non-profit, it is not an incorporated entity.
So the question is just for clarification, is Mano a Mano non-profit? It's not a for-business corporation. And yes, Mano a Mano is a non-profit corporation, and so, and this was the direction of the congregation over a year ago, is to try to find an organization that would be fulfilling a non-profit mission, and that's one reason we were working so closely with Mano a Mano. Oh, excuse me.
Well, I'm just wondering about, and does that also include the two houses?
We don't own
already know.
As you sit here today, to the south of us is a fire station. Everything north of that, which is the parking lot, the building you are sitting in, all the way through the gym to Sunnyview Avenue, and then all the way to the east, to the edge, the end of our parking lot, and the chain link fence that divides our parking lot from the former property we own, commonly known as the Easter House, which Family Promise purchased 4 or 5 years ago. Does that help everybody understand? It's all the property we currently have title to here on this corner, bounded by Lansing, Sunview, the Easter House fence, the edge, and the fire department.
I'm curious what's going to happen to, like, the AA groups or the ladies that come up there to crafts or different things like that.
So the question was, what will happen to AA and craft groups and other organizations that use our facility? A number of those organizations will most likely continue on with Mano a Mano. What we agreed to do was, for ease of transition, is to cancel our use agreements with those organizations before December 15th, with the understanding that Mano a Mano will then directly involve itself with those use agreements and those organizations as it moves forward. Does that make sense? Okay.
When Faith Lutheran in Kaiser sold their building, they had a restriction on there that the congregation that was purchasing it could not resell it for anything for 10 years. I talked to Lorraine on Tuesday and she said that type of restriction is not in this deal, and so for some reason Mano could resell the building in the near future or whenever. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. I think Faith Lutheran had that in their clause in their agreement because they were selling to another congregation. We're not selling to another congregation. We're selling to a nonprofit group that wants to use this facility to benefit the neighborhood, benefit the Hispanic population in the city of Salem. But as with most transactions, almost all legal transactions, real estate transactions, once the buyer has the property, the buyer has the property. And the restrictions that we have that apply to us is that we're able to use this facility and the parking space and some office space for up to 2 years based on our willingness to continue to worship Him. One thing I did not mention is that if we dissolve as a congregation, at that point our use will cease. We will not be able to use the facility. But we really have a lot of flexibility in terms of the use of our place. And as a practical matter, if you're having a bank finance transaction that requires returning proceeds, it's very, very difficult to be able to have anybody buy a property based on that kind of scenario. Anyway, that's the answer. Yes.